Good morning and welcome everyone to the first Builders Call of September. We've got Anthony signing in. Good morning, Will Higgins. We've got Deborah, Mike, and Jesse in transit, and of course, Laura and Selena. Good to see all of you guys. And so today we're going to jump right into our topic, which is having a strategy to finish Q4 strong, which is a time where a lot of people are looking to or open to having different conversations and making and creating change. So as we jump into the call today, just a reminder, this call happens the first and third Tuesdays of every month, 9 a.m. Pacific. Anyone, literally anyone that's wanting to build and grow an organization is invited. The replays always happen and will be available on our YouTube channel, which you can find under Empire Builders, the Empire Builders Pro website under resources. You'll see the link to be able to access any recordings that you want to share. Anybody that would love to come on camera that is not on camera right now is welcome to, regardless of what you got going on in the background. Be great to see some faces outside of the ladies. Not that we don't like the ladies. Yeah, no, Jesse, it's good. I feel like I'm part of the trip. I can't tell you how many of those like in the cup holder things that we did, which was fantastic. Mike's getting ready to film. Okay, so let's jump into the topic today. And as we look at, we're not actually in Q4 yet. We're a month ahead of Q4. And this is why we're starting to have the conversation now, because there's really specific strategy leading up to. Anthony's eating lunch. What's for lunch, Anthony? Is it something good? I might want to see. Well, as
Turkey,
long as you,
turkey and Munster cheese on rye with Dijon mustard.
oh, that sounds really good. And I just had breakfast. Anyhow, okay, back on topic. So, as we look at like getting really clear on what a strategy is, how many of you have heard the concept begin with the end in mind? Yeah. And so that concept, the first time I was introduced to it came from Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, which was a book somebody gave me that I read in my early 20s and really resonated with the messaging that was in there. And so I guess my first check-in for each of you, if we're beginning with the end in mind and thinking about Q4, finishing the year, like what is the vision that you have of what is the end? That you have in mind, because then we'll have a reverse engineer conversation about what that looks like versus just an activities conversation of all of the things and activities that you can have as a strategy between now and then. So if we're going to reverse engineer from begin with the end in mind, what is your end? Where do you want to end Q4 heading into 2026? And this again is in the context of number of agents that you may be personally sponsoring and total growth of agents, growth of agents in your organization by January 1st.
I'll start it off. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you loud and
Just,
clear.
you want us to say it out loud, right?
Yeah, out loud.
I want to sponsor 10 personals by the end of the year. I have a long list of people that have been in various pipeline stages, and I'm finally focused on let's crank through this. So it's a ambitious goal, but that's what if I start with the end in mind, that's what I want to start with.
Okay, cool. And when you say you have a long list of people in different stages, how long is that list?
The hot prospects probably 25, and I have a list of at least I have to go look. I have so many different lists, 250, 300, like total people I've been prospecting off and on for the last year and a half.
Okay. Okay, cool. Great. Who else? What's your begin with the end in mind? What's the end? We're going to call the end January 1st, 2026.
I haven't been recruiting a whole bunch, but I feel like with the rates that are supposed to drop and just kind of what's going on with my social media stuff, that I need to be prepared because when things are busy, I'm like triple booked all the time. So I want to recruit for that purpose. So more so like local-ish teams that could help with showings and stuff.
Okay.
So I think 5 is a good target for me just because I'm starting basically at 0. Not 0,
Yeah.
I got 3, but yeah.
Perfect.
I'll go
Okay,
next.
that's great.
Yeah, Casey. Oh, go ahead, Deborah.
Oh, thank you. I've got 5. 5's my target as well with where I'm at on my list.
Okay. And Will?
Yeah, five personal cappers. That was my goal as well. I bought one on, so I got four more before the year's up.
Okay, cool. Maisha?
I just joined. Are y'all talking about the numbers that we're expected to bring
Yeah,
on?
we're talking about beginning with the end in mind. So as we're looking at Q4 strategy, what's the end? And we're going to call the end January 1st, 2026. So for people that you're personally going to bring on, and then if you have a goal as well for organizational growth.
My goal would be to bring like 5 people. My
Okay.
organizational growth goal is bigger, but that would probably be something that I'm going to be targeting um, maybe in the next 12 months. But I would love to bring on at least like, I would say like 10 to 15 new agents, but my focus would
And
be the producing agents more so than anything.
Okay.
and Casey, Maisha just got her first rev share check.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Claire. Good morning.
Hey Casey, sorry I'm not on the camera. I'm actually a little punky today, but I would really my goal right now is to get my org to 50, which is at 22, and I have some strategies to do that by having a platform for teams to be recruited. I think you met this guy, Andrew Batson. You met him, and he had
Yeah.
that platform. So he so I'm working on that strategy right now, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, cool. Anthony?
Hey, I'd like to have 10 total frontline by the end of the year. I'm at 2, so I need 8.
Okay. And then who else do we have? We've got, well, is Rosie's probably not really Rosie. It is Rosie's right arm. You should come on as RRA. We'll know. Ted, what is your begin with end in mind, January 1st, 2026 goal for bringing on agents? What's the number? You're on mute.
Ted, I just asked to unmute. If you click that, you should be. There you go. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Oh, good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for onboarding a couple of them recently. And that young lady, I don't know if she's on here or not, but Elisa, unbelievable. Lisa and I are going to take her to lunch at Margaritaville today. So it looks like it's starting to move under us too, and all the help that you guys did with with Jesse. I can't believe him, but he's in now. Thank you. So 10 new ones at least.
Okay,
Because
10.
Lisa and I got a heavy goal for the next 4 months.
Okay, love it. Okay, so let's talk about that. So we're begin with the end in mind, so everybody's clear on what the end is. And here's what I want to invite you to think about is I want you to think about in your mind right now a rocket launching and visually what that specifically looks like. And for those of you, you may know this, you may not know this. However, when is the majority of the fuel used in a rocket launch? The majority of the rocket fuel during the course of its activity, when is the majority of it used?
Takeoff.
Yes, it's used in takeoff. So to get that thing off the ground is going to require the majority of the the fuel or the energy that is going to be required to get that thing into orbit. And once it's in orbit, it gets the benefit of gravity, right? Or lack thereof. And we'll call that, in the context of business, we're going to call that personal momentum, right? So there's things that happen when you are in a launch phase where you compress time, energy, and effort because you've got focus, you've got attention, and you've got intention in that mindset space where it is launch mode. We are launching for liftoff, and it is a matter of getting the thing off the ground. And so to get the thing off the ground is really getting into a state where you have enough activity going that there's people that are in that process that are onboarding, coming on at different stages of that, like ready to go, joining. That is when have got that launch energy going. There's not a gap in that where you've got one that comes on and then several weeks that go by before the next one comes on. It is really that you've got that concerted time, energy, and effort that is now resulting in that. So a lot of people think, well, it's, that's challenging to do. It's actually more challenging to do them spread out because you never get the actual liftoff. And so you don't get the momentum, you don't get the energy in the same way, and it will feel like a lot more work. The other thing that can happen is that you spend so much time, and perhaps way too much time, on the wrong people. The people that are not ready, when there are so many people that are ready that you're not getting to them. So I want you to write this down. Say less to more people. Say less to more people. There's an important mindset piece going into Q4, and it's just knowing that anyone that is a business person, not a salesperson, a business person, is always going to be looking, as they're coming up on November, December, like, how did I do this year? How am I ending the year? What was that like in comparison to, the year before? And what am I going to do next year? These things are already started. Like, these thoughts are already starting, right? And for many people that are going to be looking at change or the possibility of change, they definitely don't want to do it around a holiday because they get consumed in the holidays. However, then if you think about what happens when you get into spring and summer and the market's going crazy, people are like, I'm too busy to make a change, right? So there's this sweet spot that happens in Q4 that is a time for conversations in advance. And that in advance really starts right now going into Q4, because real estate is, a 60 to 90-day pipeline in many cases, sometimes longer, right? So agents are going to know where they're ending up already as they're going into Q4 for the most part. And so this is a really key time to be aware of that, right? And how they're going to finish the year and what they're doing and talking strategy. So from a mindset perspective, I want you to be thinking about the rocket ship that's launching, because for every one of you, whether that it's, each of you said you wanted to add between 5 and 10 new personals by the end of the year. And that is definitely a rocket launch mentality, right? And the truth is that if you get into launch phase and everything you touch starts turning to gold, you may blow right through that, depending on how you're going to engage with the relationships that you have and how you're going to choose to show up. And so there is just any questions, thoughts, feedback on that mindset piece and the visual of the rocket before we move on.
No, I do like the say less to more, though.
Yeah.
Like, that is just powerful. I wrote it down. I'm like, say less to more.
Yeah. So I want you to, there's a saying in which is amateurs sell, professionals sift and sort. So if we're thinking about this in the context of recruiting agents to EXP, what does that mean to you? Amateurs sell, professionals sift and sort.
Can't
Not
say
wasting
the
time.
wrong thing to the right person.
Okay, love that. Can't say the wrong thing to the right person. What else?
Not wasting time on the wrong people.
Not wasting time on the wrong people. Yep.
Being strategic with actually where you spend your time and those conversations.
Being strategic. Yep, that would definitely be included. What else? So I want everybody visually to think about a clock. And 12 o'clock on the clock is where both hands are straight up on the clock. And every single person has a 12 o'clock zone. And that is that moment in time where they're ready, willing, open to change and will take action right now. And if someone is not at 12 o'clock and they're at 11 o'clock or they're at, 1 o'clock or they're at 3 o'clock, they may be open to change or in conversation about change, but they're not ready and willing. And so when I say amateurs sell, professionals sift and sort, if you really want to create this kind of momentum personally, like a rocket launch, you've got to be looking for who is
Zoom right now.
who is close to 12 o'clock. And how do I identify that in conversations? There's a saying that when the pain of staying the same gets greater than the pain of changing, people will make a change. And a lot of people are driven by pain to make changes. So you got to understand, number one, who am I talking to? Is this person is there a pain that's driving them right now? And number one, what is that pain and what is the intensity of it? And how can I make it worse than it, just like, hey, fast forward 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, you stay like this, like, where's that going to put you, right? Increase the pain once you've identified it. And then the second thing is, of course, being a solution for whatever that pain is, right? So in this context of sifting and sorting to look for who's ready and who's ready right now, that is a really important mindset piece of 12 o'clock. Okay, I'm looking for people that are at 12 o'clock or at 11 o'clock in that window, and the say less to more people is going to come into play in that I'm not going to spend days and hours and, invest 10, 15 hours into someone who's not at 12 o'clock and hopes that they will be at 12 o'clock because of a goal I've got to add 10 personals by the end of the year. Meanwhile, there's 3 or 4 people that were, closer to 12 o'clock that I didn't even get into conversation with because I was attempting to convince or to sell or to make someone be at 12 o'clock when they're not at 12 o'clock. So this is really important for you, for each of you, for each of us, right? From a mindset perspective to know, like, what's this person's sense of urgency? Where are they at in their personal timing to know how much time I'm going to give them versus moving on to someone that may be more ready while keeping in communication with someone that's not quite yet ready. And so this 12 o'clock principle is also really important as you're in process, because if someone says they're ready and you don't onboard them immediately that day or start that process, they will wake up the next morning and quite likely not be ready for some reason. So this 12 o'clock principle is really, really important when we're looking at a Q4 strategy and also looking at how am I going to be the most effective with people, right? I mean, we have a conversation going on right now where, this person's been in conversation, and 2 weeks ago they came to us and they're like, I think we're 97% of the way there if we can do this like one thing. Well, we're 2 weeks down the road of getting this one thing completely resolved, and now like there's another big name brand that's popped up into the conversation that was not even in the conversation before, because that person was at 12 o'clock and now the time is gone. And so other things come in. And so this 12 o'clock principle is really, really important to have your minds wrapped around. And again, knowing that you're not going to push someone to be at 12 o'clock, but you got to recognize the people that are close to 12 o'clock. And when they get there, be with them, like ready to take action immediately, because time is not your friend. Because they don't stay in that window of 12 o'clock, sometimes not past the 24 hours. And so things have to keep moving and accelerating to do that. Just any questions or comments on that concept, that idea of the launch and 12 o'clock from a mindset perspective, so everybody's in the right mind frame? No, it was clear. It was clear as clear. Okay. So we'll move on from the mindset piece, and then we're going to move into actual strategy piece. So here's a question that I'm going to have you guess if you can finish what the answer to the question is. people will move or do something different based on the size of their fill in the blank.
Discomfort.
Discomfort, okay.
You mentioned pain before.
Yep, pain. So I'm going to say based on the size of their vision. And most people lack vision. So as we're looking at a 4-month strategy, people have goals. Yeah. People have pain. Yeah. But how do we get someone to expand their vision? So what is the best way to have someone expand their vision, or one of the most powerful ways that you've experienced of having your vision expanded?
Events.
Events. Yeah. So you've got to get somebody in a physical environment that's out of their day-to-day environment, because all they can see in their day-to-day environment is what they can see in their day-to-day environment. And their vision will be limited to what they see in that environment. Period. Hands down. That's it. Like, that is what they'll be able to see. Their dream. Yep. So the number one thing that's going to set up your Q4 and how many people actually come into your organization in Q4 is the number of people that attend EXPCon, period. Because that is an environment where their vision is, regardless of how big their vision might be right now today or how big their dream might be today, it is going to get blown up at that event. And there is nothing that can replicate the experience of that event for someone in their business. So if there is one thing for everybody to focus on right now today that is going to be your setup for Q4 because of how much work that event will do for you, right? I think of, oh my goodness, Dill Ward in 2023 came to EXPCon not with EXP. And she came on an Explorer Pass, which how many of you know what Explorer Passes are? 2 of you. Okay, 3 of you. We're going to talk about the Explorer Pass. She came on an Explorer Pass just to check it out. And what happened for her at that event had her decide that EXP was the place that she wanted to be, right? I think about when I got my real estate license, the day after I took my real estate exam, I was sitting in a Quantum Leap class for Keller Williams, not even knowing what Keller Williams was. And as a result of me being at that event and going, oh, these are all Keller Williams people, like, this is where I want to work. This is the people I want to work with. That event had me decide where I was going to go to work. The event of EXPCon in 2023 had Dill choose to onboard and become an agent with EXP, right? And then in 2024, as the 1-year anniversary, and I love that was coming up, of her being with the company, she was excited about going to EXPCon 2024 because she'd closed 6 agent-to-agent referrals that happened as a result of the power of the EXP network that she otherwise would not have done had she not gone to that event and joined the company. And so if there is one thing to focus on right now, it is how many people am I getting to EXPCon with me? Because that is going to be the foundation, right? And these conversations, and I'll open up a couple of ideas and conversations for that. And then we've got great people on here that also know the power of events, getting people to events and conversations to have with people. But one of the ones that I love having with people is, tell me about this year compared to last year and what you're hoping next year is going to be. Where are you at right now? And are you enthused and knocking it out of the park and having your best year ever? Are you feeling like you're getting dragged behind a boat and just can't get up on the water? Like, are you somewhere in between? Where are you at? Right? And that what successful people know is that they will invest time and money to become more successful, regardless of what's going on in their business or life. They will make the time and they will find the money always to be more successful. And so if you're really wanting to change where you're at, whether that is not change where you're at as far as a brokerage is concerned, but change where you're at as far as where you're at in your business, where you're going to be in your business in 2026 and your life, like, what is the cost to you of not putting yourself in an environment where that can shift dramatically and align to what you really want it to be, right? Do you have to join EXP? No, you don't have to join EXP. You can come to the event and take advantage of all of the knowledge, all of the tools, all of the resources, and the community of people and the collaboration and all of the experiences that will be there. on a little thing called an Explorer Pass, which means if you're not an agent with us and you don't have to be an agent with us, you can attend the entire event. Any reason you wouldn't, like, why wouldn't you rearrange your schedule based on what you just shared with me? So that is a conversation that can be had with anyone, and you can take it off the table. It doesn't need to be a come to EXP conversation. It's like, listen, as far as industry events go, and you can use this. There was someone on stage last year, and I forget the gentleman's name. However, he said in 25 years of being in the industry and with big name brands and companies and going to events, that EXPCon last year was the single best event in real estate that he had ever attended, period. Because of the content, the speakers, and the value of that event. You can use that testimonial, right? There's people say, oh, it's just another conference, it's just another this, or it's just another that. Have that testimonial in your back pocket, right? And when someone is in, and where people have been, if somebody's feeling beat down in some way, shape, or form because of the amount of business they aren't doing, or the challenges that have come with getting that business over the course of the last couple of years, and they're tired, right? When you're tired, investing in yourself is the most important thing to do, because if you don't have you, that is what you're bringing to your business. And it's going to be impossible to create anything more better or different unless you've got a better you coming to it. And so taking the advantage of something like an EXP Con is critical, and could be critical, not just in the course of somebody's business, but in them staying in the industry and being in the industry next year and thriving in the industry and continuing to grow and do well. So I know that there's multiple people on here that have great experience around conversations with people and getting them to events, particularly when it is not a local event that you just drive to in your own market, but it's a get on an airplane and come to an event. Would love to know some of the conversations that you found to be effective, just in collaboration, different ideas.
Hey, Casey,
Yeah.
while we're going there, can you also just touch on getting your people there? I can't get my people to the event, like the people that are already with me, to see the value of the events.
Yes, that's a great, we'll circle back to that. I'll come back to that after we do this first part on what are some of the conversations in getting people to events and influencing them to get to events. Rosie, hello, Rosie.
My phone doesn't like anything technological. All right. So there's a couple things. Yeah. One is that one thing that you said that I wanted to comment on, but my mic wasn't working, is the 12 o'clock. I just want to touch on that real quick. Like when people are ready and then something happens and then they're not. That's happened to me various times, and I just kick myself in the butt because they say like when people make change, it's usually some kind of emotional, like, oh, the broker didn't pay them, they're tired of it. There's one last time that somebody, something happened that pissed them off or whatever, and they're like, I now am going to make that change. And so staying in conversation relationship is so important, because you want to be that next person they call and like, you know what, let's talk. Like, I do want to talk about this and I'm ready to talk about it. And there's been so many times where I haven't, and then I found out, oh, you know what, like I went, I just decided and I went to this other place, or because it took so long, now they've got different voices and they're like, somebody else is clearer about their intention about them being part of their team than I was. So that's just something I wanted to, like, testimony, like it's happened to me multiple times. And so don't let it happen to you. On the concept of events, so I'll tell you what works and I'll tell you what I need to do better. So what I have done very well is I've done a really great job of inviting people. I do plan ahead. So when the tickets are on sale, or sometimes there are last minute, people who can't go or whatnot. So I'm always on the lookout. Let's say I buy 5 tickets ahead of time, because I know I'm going to fill those 5 seats. And so 5 tickets would be, 7 times 5, like 4, let's call it $4,000. My camera's not working again. Let's call it $4,000. And so I know that that's just an investment. It's like running an ad. I'm going to spend $4,000 in ad spend, right? On this campaign. And so it's part of my marketing budget. And I know that I'm going to fill those seats. The wonderful thing is that, you know, every one of those tickets actually is one ticket for someone and then one ticket for free, right? Because of the Explorer Pass. So getting people to commit to it is like, hey, I've got, you know, this is a $1,000 ticket. I'm going to cover this for you. I am committed to seeing you and your business grow. I know you've been frustrated. I know you're ready for a change. I can guarantee you, hands down, you're going to walk away with, you know, easily 2 or 3 things that are going to impact your business. So at the very least, you're going to increase your production or get closer to your goals or whatever it is. But at best, you know, you're going to make new connections, probably get some referrals. You're going to have a great time. And you're going to learn a lot and kind of have a, you know, an insider view on, you know, the things that we're doing. I sell the fun a lot. Like, we have a yacht party. Oh my gosh. And then our Latino party. It's going to be so much fun. And hey, it's Miami. Who doesn't want to go to Miami? Like, you know, it's a whole experience, and it is a whole experience. And that's how I get people to go. Okay. Or wherever we're going. What has not worked in that? What has not worked in that is that I have not had the conversations ahead of time to properly kind of prepare people for what's next, right? It's like they're going to Miami and they're going to have a great time. And thanks for inviting me. But we never got deep enough into talking about their business where the next step would be, yeah, I see what you were talking about. What do we do next? Right? It's like, that was great. Thanks. I learned a lot, you know, and sure, you know, let's get together for coffee next week. So that's what hasn't worked. So if you're having, you know, people invited, you're inviting people to your you know, to the EXPCon, make sure that you've had those conversations and you've put them on at least 1 or 2 3-way calls as part of their explanation.
We
just
we
lost her.
lost her.
Yeah. So
Can I chime in on that, Casey? Because yes, that has happened to me. I had I had a couple come to build and I think it was in Dallas at the time. And yes, had multiple conversations, put them on multiple 3-way calls, sent them all the information. They came, they had never watched the model explained, had never took any action on anything. And they were just there.
and
Didn't join, didn't anything, got back into their rhythm, and then saw something about the harassment case, sexual harassment case, and used that as an out to say, oh, you know, we're not interested.
okay. So let's talk about purchasing tickets. Purchasing tickets is not necessarily for an individual. It's for you that's committed to building and growing your personals by the end of the year. So it doesn't matter who goes in those seats. It's a matter that those are filled, right? So when you have people that say, yeah, I'm taking it, and then they cancel, you've got a pipeline of people waiting in the background of like, hey, it might be last minute and I might have a ticket available, but I'm not going to know till XYZ, in which case we can always buy one still, but you know, just hold tight, right? So the reason why someone would purchase tickets in advance is to be able to have those discounted tickets, and for you to be able to fill them, right? And so as a not like oh, I got stuck with a ticket. It's like, no, if you're doing liftoff, you have more people that need tickets than you have actual tickets available. And so that is the idea with why you would buy a ticket, is so you're getting the right people in the room and that you've got a pipeline of those, a waiting list for those tickets. And people understand that, like, you know, it may become available, and if it doesn't, well, we still need to get a ticket, and then it'll be a full pop ticket. So that's number 1. Number 2, Rosie's back.
Right. Yeah. So thank you for that, Katie, and computer problems, but not user error, of course.
You've really been having some issues with that lately.
I should probably just use the new computer I have in the box, but you know.
Why?
Why? I just, you know, keep doing this. So something on what you just said. Here's the thing. If you buy like 5 tickets and it's like $4,000, okay, great. About my $4,000 of early birds. Um, and you invite, and you probably want to invite, like if you had 4, you'd probably want to invite, 8 to 10 people because there's going to be, 30% that will say yes, right? And actually commit. And I say, send me your flight confirmation because that's when I'll put it in their name. If they don't buy their flight, like they're just like, oh no, I'll get to it. Oh yeah, I want to go. I had a really good friend, bought her ticket, got her room, because she's a friend. And I'm like, you're going, you're sure, you're sure. Didn't even call me, like nothing. And I was so mad because it was a good $1,500 that I invested. And didn't mention a thing. And then I told her once, I said, hey, I don't know if you know this, but like that one trip, like that cost me like that. She goes, oh, I didn't know you had to pay for it. I thought it was free. I'm like, yeah, no, like hotels don't do that. So anyways, if you buy 4, invite 10, and then 30% will actually show somebody's going to cancel last minute. And if you're good, somebody will say, hey, yeah, I'm going, let's do it. Worst case scenario, you'll buy a ticket that somebody else is selling if you over invite. Worst case scenario, you'll sell a ticket that you had left over because somebody canceled on you. So you might lose a little bit of money, but I mean, that your gain is so much bigger, right? If you have 4 people that go and one of them actually converts and they're on your first level, that's $4,000, in your first year. That's going to give you infinite returns, in terms of, how our bonus structure works. And then also the fact that, that doesn't even account for people they might invite going forward. And then just, it's great. It's great to hang out with people you like. So.
It is. So, summary, sell the fun. Number 2 is make sure that the people that you're bringing you've invested in them ahead of time and that they have some kind of buy-in to you, to wanting to learn more about EXP, to putting the pieces together and being there in the context of due diligence, and then having like a plan with them so that they're solid people versus just butts and seats. And then additionally is, the value of that from a business perspective, treating it like a business and looking at that, in that way. So let's circle back to Will's point before we move on. And in that context of fun, Selena, will you put the link for the yacht party, please? There you go, ebpsunsetcruise.com. Sometimes events like that will be the tipping point. Like, hey, there's an exclusive event. Not everybody's invited to it. And those tickets right now are early bird price. Those will be going up. And so there's also some urgency with that, either having you and the people in your organization purchase them, or if you're pre-purchasing for people that you haven't yet committed in doing that. So just kind of a little bit of a heads up on that. We will not be doing any kind of flash sale on ticket price. The ticket prices will only be going up on the boat as we get closer. This is the flash sale right now. And so just know that and plan accordingly. So for people, like getting people within your organization to attend as well is something that was on the table, and it's the same conversation, right? Being at EXP is not going to guarantee your success. It's not going to make necessarily anything in your business go to the next level, just EXP in and of itself. You're the person that's going to do that. And so at the point that you stop investing in you, you're really just saying you're going to create more of the same, period. Because that's how it works, right? So if you want to stick in a more of the same, well, there's not anything you're going to do to pull someone out of I'm just going to continue in a more of the same conversation. People that want to grow, that want to take things to the next level, that want to be better, are going to understand the importance of putting themselves in the space to actually create and do that. And so that's not going to be everyone in the organization, right? If you look at an organization, and we've talked about this before, 30% of the people are in growth, 33% of the people are in growth and growing, 33% are complaining about something or multiple things, and 33% are on their way out. And you're never going to change those dynamics. So you're looking for the 33% that are in growth or that are committed to being in growth. Those are going to be the people from your organizations that are going to attend the event. And, I will share that stat with someone, when we're in conversation, like, here's what's true. And I know this from having an organization and being in business for all these years. Like 33% are in growth, 33% are complaining or unhappy about something, and 33% are on their way out. Where are you in that? And more importantly, where do you want to be in that, right? Because if somebody's in the 33% where they're complaining or discouraged, a decision, like, great, you're going to stay there, you're going to be on your way out, things are going to go downhill for you, right? So what do we need to do to get you from complaining to growth? Well, it's decision. Okay, now what is somebody that's in growth doing? Well, they're investing the time, they're investing the money, and they're investing the energy in themselves to grow and take things to the next level. So EXPCon is not a negotiable conversation. It's of course, this is what's happening conversation, because this is what there is to do right now, right? And so you're aligning what someone wants with the path to get them there, which is always, it's the same thing when it comes to recruiting and building an organization, right? Some people are going to want to grow, and so they're going to be willing to change and invest to do that. And other people are not. They're going to want to just complain about how it is and stay where they are, and maybe leave the industry. Who knows? Right? You're not going to change those metrics at all. So again, we're back to the sifting and sorting conversation of amateurs sell, professionals sift and sort. And that's going to be true inside your organizations and outside of your organizations. And just know that nobody is one thing at all times. Like, people are going to be at different places in that at different times. And that's where the relationships and the conversations come into play. Rosie.
Yeah, I wanted to expand on the invitation, because I get all the objections that everybody else does. And by the way, just because I have a large organization, I've been doing this from the time I had, like, 5 people. It's like I saw the vision. I was holding a vision for what was going to be created. And so, from day one, I'm like, okay, maybe I wasn't buying 5 tickets, but I'd buy at least one and say, okay, I'm going to bring one person with me. And then I was also very solution oriented, because like, wasn't making a whole bunch of money. I had stepped away from my production, and so I was like putting stuff on my credit card. So I'd probably invite a girl. Why? Because we could share a room. Like, just says, hey, come, you could stay with me. And so then it was the cost of what I was going to expend anyways on my ticket and my room. In this case, they didn't have the Explorer Pass back then, but if I have my ticket, I can bring one person, and then I'm using my room, double bed, and that person can come with me. So, like, there's one solution. And if there's like 2 friends that kind of hang out in the same circle, like, hey, why don't you come? So and so's coming. We'll all stay together. Oh, okay. So just, guys, same thing. Like, hey, you know what? You could crash at my place. Whatnot. So that's one solution. Another thing is, I don't know if I can go, and I will literally look up the flight from LAX to Miami, or from, Ohio to Miami. I'll look it up and I'll be like, look, tickets are only like $300. And I've had people say, really? They're only 300? What airline? And then I tell them, like, here, book it right now. Like, this is a process we're doing together. So, who is clearer on what's going to happen in that call? And these are calls that I have, like, with people that I have that kind of relationship where I could, like, push them and be like, we're going to do this. Come on, you're going to have a great time. You're going to learn so much. But like, it's a lot of enthusiasm. Like, Deborah, she's got a lot of enthusiasm, and everybody just likes hanging out wherever Deborah goes. And so using your enthusiasm to get people there, and solutions, share rooms if you've got, a girl to girl, guy to guy. So just a couple of different things that I want to give you guys, because I don't want you to walk away from this call thinking I just said, oh, you should come. No, like, that's not the invitation. So that's it.
Thank you, Rosie. Jesse.
Let's see. I have a question. So if 33% of your organization is typically in growth, is that the goal of what percent of your organization you would want to have from existing agents at an event like EXPCon, like 33%?
I would love that.
Is that realistic? Is that your goal? Like, what's the number you shoot? I mean, I know I would love that too, but like, what do you normally shoot for?
So I haven't planned it like that. Like, I don't have like, oh, we'd like to see 30% of our, organization there. Although,
Let me jump in real quick, Casey. Jesse, you're really good at getting people in your organization to go. Like, why don't you share what you do?
Happy to show. I keep cutting out. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I'm looking for ideas, what everyone else is doing too. And I treat it like a campaign. Like it's a sales process like everything else, right? And so I'm actually starting with my leaders in my group next this Thursday. So and the growth leaders in our group, and we're going to do a 6-week campaign. And this is what we usually do for big events: is you got to get buy-in, right? People understand the value of why they want to be there, why they want guests to be there, why they want their group to be there. Set some right. It really is treating it just like any other sales campaign. Like it's follow-up and putting an effort. And you can't just send someone a message once and say, like text them and say, hey, you want to come to EXPCon? It's like, it's calling them and talking to them about their goals and then reminding them, make sure they're getting their planes booked and really treating it like a whole campaign. Does that make sense, Rosie?
Yeah, and I love that, Jesse, the whole 6-week campaign. Like that's a great takeaway for me because I'll be like, who do I want to come? And then I'll start texting people, and then like it's just like, oh, like who's alive right now? Where you're more systematic and you're planning it out, and so I could definitely would increase my results if I would just do what Jesse does. Yeah.
Well, I didn't make it up. I learned it from Casey and from Brent Gove. And I mean, I have a giant whiteboard, multiple giant whiteboards, but one of them is just specifically devoted to the next event. And I have little boxes drawn on. I can send you a picture when I get back to my office. But all of my leaders and how many people they have committed to come, what's their goal, how many they have actual committed. Like we just track it, and it's set metrics. And then I have a list for my own personal guests that I want to have there.
Yeah, and that visual is important, right? Because what gets created twice, once in our minds and then second in reality, right? And so that process that Jesse's talking about is key. So yes, there's a 6-week lead up, right? Which is exactly what he's talking about. Get your leaders bought in. And that means you've got to be bought in first, right? If you think about everything about being about enrollment, at what level are you bought in? Because when you go out to have those conversations, it's gonna stem from you and the energy that you take into those conversations, right? So if you think about the fact that like you're always enrolling, and are you really enrolling right now or enrollable, right? What's the space that you need to get in energetically? What's the value to you to be at that event? What are you looking to take away from that event? And how are you going to show up and participate and make it so that you're really invested in that, right? And then having leaders on the same page in those same conversations it's a duplication, right? It's another aspect of duplication and how things duplicate over time. And so with that, we're talking about Q4, right? And this Q4 conversation is for all those leaders as well. Like, what is the possibility of what your Q4 is going to look like as a result of being there versus not being there? What's going to happen in referral business that you could pick up or won't pick up as a result of you being there or not being there? What's going to happen for you from a belief and vision standpoint as how you're going to finish the year and start next year as a result of you being there or not being there? What is there for you to reschedule, rearrange, renegotiate so that if you weren't planning on being there for some reason, that like what would make it valuable for you to reschedule, renegotiate that, to be able to change that and be there. And you get somebody invested in what they want to walk away with and then clear on what they're walking into so that they get what they want to walk away with before that ever happens. And then the question is always, who are you bringing with you, right? So the biggest opportunity over the next 6 weeks is going to be, I'm going to say it, third-party validation calls. And those can happen with people in your organization that are maybe like, yeah, in a spot where they could use a little love, and then you get them connected into a bigger conversation. And that may be part of your ramp up to EXPCon and a retention strategy going into Q4, knowing that it doesn't matter, like people that are with us are not immune to having their head poked up looking at other things because they're not growing the way that they want to be growing as well. Like that happens to people in our organization. So those conversations are important. So focusing on how many of those like can be brought into the conversation in advance, right? And then for people that you're working on that you want to go to the event, not yet with us, same thing. How invested can you get them into the community, into the collaboration, into the network of people into the platform of EXP before they ever go there, so that EXP is just a tipping point for a conversation that's like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's start the onboarding process. Like, I'm ready to do the join app while I'm here. It's Tuesday of EXPCon. Like, I've seen enough. Let's go. Right. And so how prepared someone's mind and someone's heart is going into that event is going to also yield how far they come out and through the other side of that. Right. And then going into Q4, for people that are doing that, it's keeping in mind, like, some of those people are going to be coming over for production and their business in that aspect. And some of them are going to be coming over because they want to build. Right. And if they want to build, and if their curiosity is in building or knowing or seeing how that works and the community that they'll be leveraging to do that, like, who would you want to have with you here? And that process is already starting because they can bring people to EXPCon. Like, we'll source Explorer passes. I guarantee you there'll be more people that don't use their Explorer passes than there are that do use them. And so we'll always find an Explorer pass for somebody that's not yet with us. But that's going to also feed into that Q4 growth strategy, right? And then the most important thing is going to be having, like, when you have people that are going with you into that event, why are they actually going to EXPCon with you? What do they want to get out of it, right? And so that you can be checking in with them throughout the course of the event on the experience they're having, because you know why they're there and what they want to get out of it. That'll dictate the people you put in front of, the dinners you have, the lunches you have, and who's at those and how that gets orchestrated. And then the post event, so we've got the pre-event promotion, the promotion of the event while you're at the event, and then the post-event promotion, which is everything that happened as a result of being there. So when you've got people that are going to be guests or people that are in your organizations, this conversation is the same on the back end. Okay, we just got back from EXPCon. You know, now what? What's the plan? Like, to go just for the sake of going is not going to change your business and your life. It's what are we integrating? What are we changing? How can I walk that path with you? Like, what's the plan that's in place to do that at your pace based on the vision that you have while you're there? And so when you're preparing people's minds and hearts that their vision is going to be, they're going to put themselves in a place to have their vision expanded from what it is today. And that quite likely can bring energy and enthusiasm back into their experience in their business and their life. That may be the entire invite of why someone would go, right? I need a bigger vision. I need something to get me excited. I don't feel excited, or I feel tired and I feel burned out. Okay, great. So how do we reignite that? Let's put yourself in a place to do that. And then very clearly walking that path with someone. So the Q4, these next 6 weeks of lead up to that are really incredible from an opportunity standpoint, but then also knowing that people 30, 60, 90 days, sometimes that is the process of change for people, depending on what their business looks like, depending on how many people they may have on their sales team. Like, and so if you're really looking at where we started, which was the begin with the end in mind for what everybody's got as personal goals, this is the ramp up process over the next 6 weeks for attendance at the event, and then the follow up and conversion process that's going to happen over the next 30, 60, 90 days that's going to get you where you want to be. And so I think that one of the things that is mismanaged most often is what it takes. We mismanage in our minds and in our expectation what it's going to actually take. And then we get frustrated when it doesn't happen. What we want to happen isn't happening because we've grossly underestimated what it actually takes to make it happen. And so if there's one thing I could say, like, going into this conversation, coming out of this conversation, is number one, time is not your friend. Time is your enemy. Right? So 6 weeks sounds like a long time to convention. It's not a long time, right? The days and the minutes are counting down and passing by, and Q4 is going to be here and be done before you know it. But we're having this conversation now to be able to be in a proactive space so you can get your heads right and that you can have a solid plan based on what your beginning with the end in mind is, and then go out and execute that. And we're here to do that with you. So I'm looking forward to having many, 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 many more third-party validation calls on my calendar of great people, right? Meeting great people just to start those relationships, build those relationships. If you haven't invited them to EXPCon, I'll invite them to EXPCon. And and they'll be getting it from, multiple sources in multiple ways, right? The way that we're all going to grow together is by actually growing together, right? And so that's the working together, it's the collaborating together, it's aligning and really engaging. So in the last 4 minutes that we have, would love to hear any questions, comments, feedback, ideas, or anything that's come up. Yeah, Anthony, go.
Hey, number one, do we have like a repository or maybe I guess the Slack channel for Empire Builders where if anyone is not using their Explorer Pass, someone else could claim it? Because I want to invite, a number of other people. I've already used up the tickets that I have.
Go, Selena.
We do actually have a Slack channel. I haven't been inviting people to it only because there was that rollout of people getting into Slack, and I'm often amazed by how many people still haven't set it up. But that is something that I could send out, Anthony, now, if everybody feels like they've started to invest the time and energy in participating in Slack. I think that's a really great idea. Last year, we sort of did it as a WhatsApp group, but that gets really hard to manage. Especially with the number of people we have. So good idea. And I will implement this week.
And we will have a WhatsApp group for people that are registered for the boat. And so we'll put that together just as a point of communication like we did last year. And then we also have the Empire Builders Pro Facebook group, of which there's, I don't know, I think there's 900 agents in there. So that could be a great place to put the message, Anthony, for people. And then just do a hit everyone so that it's seen.
Cool.
Can I make a comment for Anthony real quick?
Yeah.
Hey, Anthony, if you get really, really committed to finding the free Explorer passes, it's pretty easy to do. It's more than just putting a message in a chat group and hoping someone responds. You just got to start reaching out personally. You go and, hey, using your Explorer pass, you make it. That's another campaign. And we were able to source. I think the statistic was like 80% of people don't use their Explorer pass. So there's a lot of Explorer passes floating around. No shortage there.
Dennis, Cecilia, Polly, Kevin, Jasper, Frank, are Dennis.
Yeah, I'm just curious how I would know who signed up for EXPCon to ask personally.
So Anthony, what I did last year in Workplace Chat, which I'm sure in Slack, I was going to check for you, but if you go on Slack, there's usually a EXPCon 2025 channel. And so last year I went in there. That's how I found last minute tickets and Explorer passes. So I would go there because that's going to be a much bigger pool than anything, that we have.
Great, thank you.
And I usually do get a list. I do get a list from corporate closer to time where they try to pull everybody in Casey's organization that has purchased a ticket. I will tell you it's a sad number compared to how many people we do actually have in the organization. So you're going to have better luck. Hang on, let me just mute this person. Hang on. You're going to have better luck, like Rosie said, just because we have so few people in the org who actually attend. She says with disdain.
Yeah, so just lastly, I know we're getting on, we have another Zoom at the top of the hour. When does the promo price go up on the boat?
End of September.
End of September. So we've got the month of September. And as you're enrolling people in DXPCon, make sure you get them on the boat and registered for that. Only because we had people that we ran into from our organization at the event last year that were like, we didn't know about the boat party. I'm not sure how, because it went out and, it had been distributed but for some reason it was missed. So make sure that anybody that you've got going from your organizations or guests are set up there as well, because we want anybody that wants to be there, obviously, to be able to be there. So, all right, great seeing you all. Thank you so much for today. And we'll see you on the Free Friday coaching call this Friday. It's going to be great, 9 a.m. Pacific.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Audio.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There we go. Every time I log off, I have to like readjust everything. Whew, okay. I'm like doing 14 things in the background. I'm checking on the flower delivery that I set up last Friday that didn't get delivered, and I'm like chatting with them, and I'm like doing the things. Okay, and I just louder. Well, I'm gonna go use the restroom while I have
Cool.
1 second.
Go, go. Hi, Ela.
Laura, how are you doing?
Doing good? No voice, but good.
I can at least hear you now, so I'm glad that you're getting some
We love
sound out.
you.
I can't say.
You feeling better? Yay.
Selena
Since
will be back
yesterday.
next.
Yeah.
Joanne, congratulations. I see you just registered for the basic.
Yes.
I'm so excited for you.
Me too. I need it. I think it's gonna help.
Love it. You are gonna love it.
Quick potty break. Sorry, guys. I'm like, run. I am so excited. Joanna Casey just texted me that. I was like,
Now I have
excellent.
to book my room and do all of that. So, but this morning I said, you know what? I'll just give you guys my win. I said I'm going to put myself first, and I'm going to do all the trainings that I need to do to evolve, and let my husband figure out how he's going to take care of you. How he's going to pick him up or get off early. I'm just going to let him figure it out. I just put it on his calendar. Like, I'm not here. You pick him up. You know, putting myself
That's
first.
So it's so funny that you say that, because I was in this conversation. I think it's Selena. I shared it with Selena. It was so I was doing some journaling, and it was this idea of the courage to choose you and what it takes. And some people will look at that as selfish, and people that know look at it as selfless, right? Because when we are taking care of ourselves, we are better for everyone else. And that is in business and in life, right? And there's so much stigma around making ourselves valuable enough to do that. I think particularly as women, right? Versus just give and serve and give and serve. And when there's room or space or leftover, then I will take care of me. And that is a way of thinking that a lot of people have that is not effective for,
Yeah. I
the
think it
quality.
just clicked.
Yeah.
It just
So-
clicked today. This morning I woke up and I said, why am I working around other people's schedules? Like, no, it's time to take care of me and put myself first, and I'm just gonna do it. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Super exciting.
It's I was journaling as well this weekend. I'm trying to get back into a good habit, and there was a quote that came up in my feed on something, and it said, why don't you do for yourself what you do for others? Right? Like, you don't show up for yourself like you show up for anyone else. If anyone else asked you to do something, asked you to be somewhere, asked you to, whatever it was, you would drop everything and you would do it, but you don't do it. You don't do the same thing for yourself. And I was like,
Exactly.
I was like, let's ruminate on that for a minute. And like, what would change? What would life look like if that was what you did, if you treated yourself like you treat everyone else? And I was like, okay, okie dokie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought today. And I said, I need to do this training. It's gonna make me a better person, I think.
You will love it. Pardon me while I get my mouse under control. Casey, I am texting with 1-800-Flowers in the background. So if you guys
no
see
worries. I'll keep facilitating wins. Who else has a win they want to share?
So yesterday was our 19-year anniversary with Aria. It wasn't happy all the time, but it's a good marriage. Some days I want to kill him, sometimes he wants to kill me.
That's what I was gonna say. The win is that you made it 19 years without killing him.
Yes.
Happy anniversary. That's awesome. Ela, you look like you've got one.
Yeah, I signed a BRBC with new clients, and I am in the process of submitting an offer today, which, well, let's see.
Gonna
So, yeah,
envision that it happens.
and my headache's gone. It lasted for a week. I found out the cause, I found out the solution, and I was very happy prematurely that yeah, I fixed it. It came back with a vengeance, but I'm fine now. So again, I like to give headaches. I don't like getting them, you know. I would rather be someone's problem than have a problem. So yeah, I don't like this.
Use that. Oh my God, that's funny.
Tracy, what's your win,
Hello?
Tracy? Hi.
I went. I've got my tickets. I got all signed up for EXPCon and saw my son this weekend. And yeah. Also, I think that the San Mateo property is gonna probably be coming up sooner rather than later, not a 6 months. So I'm going up there tomorrow because they sent in a LOI over the weekend on a property. So and I'm going to an appointment right now. So sorry, I'm in the car. So yeah, things were good.
Awesome. Anthony, good morning. What's your win?
Good morning. My win just happened. Well, a good thing just happened, and I'll use it as my win. I was on the phone with the Association of Realtors, and they've accepted me as an applicant for the board of or the trustees, one of the trustees for the foundation of Bay East, which gives away money to. They do a scholarship, and they do helping members every year. And it's one of the only positions at the association where you basically only give. You just go there to figure out how to give and how to fundraise so that you can give back to those people who are with Bay East and the children of those people for scholarship stuff that they do. So I'm going to meet with them on Dad's birthday in person at the headquarters there in Pleasanton.
Very
so
cool.
That's very exciting for me. Yeah.
That's awesome. My win was a mindset shift around attracting talent that happened last week. And based on results, it was effective because I have 3 really great people in the pipeline for follow-ups for this week and more to do. So thank you, Selena, thanks to Selena for agreeing to have an hour on the calendar each day. We're on Zoom, which holds me accountable to making those outbound calls. That's been really helpful, first and foremost. And then secondarily, the staying in conversation and being like, hey, from a coaching perspective, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, just constant evolution. So appreciative for you, Selena. You're a win, and the results shifting are a win. And I shall pass it back to you because everyone has now won.
I will give mine. I had a couple. I spent the weekend doing like a full reset. I don't know how you guys are, but like when my spaces get messy, it usually means my head is messy because I like to keep things organized. And I kind of looked around my house last Friday night and I was like, my office had exploded, my bedroom, my closet had exploded, like everything just looked like it just blew up, like it got too packed and just and that's usually my indicator. Like so I did like a whole reset all weekend. I cleaned a ton of stuff out of my closet. I straightened up my office and rearranged things, and it makes me feel calmer whenever I do those things. And then I made a commitment to myself because on average it takes 66 days to change a habit. So I am in 66 days of doing a 20-20-20. It's from the 5 a.m. club. Has anyone read that? Sorry about the dinging. I'm chatting with 1-800-Flowers in the background. But have you read the 5 a.m. club, Casey?
No, I haven't read it, but we can't hear the dinging, so don't worry
Okay,
about it.
good, because it's going nuts. I did it because Nico and I now wake up at 5 a.m. to get him ready for school. So I was like, let me just read this book. And for those of you that don't know, I read like a book a week minimum, typically. But one of the things in it is the 20-20-20 formula. And it was like in that first hour to spend 20 minutes on moving, 20 minutes on reflecting, and 20 minutes on growing. And like, so this morning I did that. I got up, I moved, I did all of my stretching and my yoga first. Then I did 20 minutes of journaling. And then I did 20 minutes on growing, which was either reading and I have this kind of course thing that I do as well that comes in on my phone. And I'm going to commit to it for 66 days, which means getting up at 5 a.m. even on the weekends, which feels gross. but I will do.
Actually, it's going to be so much easier because your body's going to get in a rhythm, and I think you will quite like it. Possibly.
Nico's surprisingly, I mean, this morning I didn't have to threaten his life in order to get him out of bed at 5 a.m. So I was like, that's a win. So he seems to be moving into that mode as well. And ironically, this weekend he was up by like 7:30 instead of me yanking him out of bed at like 11 or noon because he stays up too late. So all good wins. So working on my like 66 days worth of habits and like what that looks like. So 2020, if anybody ever wants to try it, of
Can
it's
I ask,
moving,
Selena,
reflecting, and growing. Go ahead.
do you go to bed at 9 when you're
Mhm.
getting up at 5?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, last night was like all out
That's
war
a
because
less talked about part.
yes, it's been very difficult to get him to that point, just because he
Yeah.
stayed up so late over the summer. However, last night I was like at 8:45, I was like, go do all of your face care and all of, he's got, teenage acne at the moment, so we're really working on that. And I'm like, I want your butt in the bed at 9. I will tell you that at 9:07, I was yelling at him. We don't often argue, but like, I'm like, I need to be asleep by 9:30 or I'm gonna be a monster at 5.
Yeah.
So it was about 9:27, and then I was like, that's it, we're out. Like, and I threatened him. I was like, you will sleep in my bedroom from now on. I will roll your bed in here. Like, if this doesn't happen. So it's like all of us kind of transitioning into that. And then we're both working on the last full hour between 8 and 9, no screens. He has to read
Yeah.
Animal Farm right now for school, and I, of course, love reading either way. So I'm like,
Ooh.
great, we'll spend our last hour and no screens. So just things
Yeah.
to kind of get yourself and your headspace in the right place. I hope that helps somebody else.
Yeah, I feel like that's the actually more difficult part of getting up at 5 a.m., right? It's because you have to have 8 hours of sleep to feel good, or somewhere around there between 7 and 8.
Yeah.
Then you have to really start like turning your day down at 6:30 to 7. Like we have to have 8, we have to have cleaned up dinner. Now like 8:30 is you got to be close to it ending everything. So I think
It's hard.
that's got to be shit. So that's why, yeah.
I'll say the first week to 10 days, my Aura ring was like, what is happening? You've only had 5 hours of sleep. Like, fix something
right.
ASAP.
Yeah.
It's like, and then I was yelling at Nico. I was like, I am not a nice human with only 5 hours of sleep. So like something has to shift. And he gets that. I mean, he gets that. And I think for him too, like he was coming home from school and immediately going to bed because he was so tired. Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, we've got to shift and we got to change everything. So again, for anybody who does not know that, about 66 days is what it takes to create a habit like consistently. So I literally made myself like almost like a daily success habit tracker. And I'm like, hey, this is what I'm doing for the next 66 days. By the way, that worked really well for me years ago when I wanted to quit soda. Like I drank soda every single day. And after 66 days, I didn't even want it anymore.
Yourself will break the chain. You get to do a circle and a circle and a circle and a circle.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, so it's 66 it's called break the chain. If you break the chain, you have to start over. So each one of those, circles loops into the next.
That's very
It's
cool.
visual. Yeah, you can see your progress too.
Yeah, I've seen there's all these new habit trackers, right? Where people can do it if they're visual and it's like you're coloring something if you complete it or whatever. And I'm just like, no, I just want to like mark through the day. It's before we continue, Debbie, did you have I know you have a win. I saw your win.
I saw a win.
Come off of mute. Let's see. Oh, you can't. Hang on. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Oh, wait, do it again. You came off for a second. There you go.
Okay. I have 2.
Even better.
Got approved for my house in Texas. Now, let me tell you why this is so such a huge win. I mean, you're like, yeah, you got a house. Last year was, like most agents, one of the most challenging years for me in real estate. And as a result, my credit took a huge hit. So it was a nail biter. I didn't know if I'd get approved, and I got approved. So I'm on the uptick and I'm improving everything, myself included. So credit included. So got approved for my house in Texas, and then got my new car, and just this morning got the payout from the insurance company in the amount that I wanted. So success.
That is amazing. Wait, when's the move date? When's the move date?
The end of September. There's a Fresno State football game on October 4th, and my best friend's son plays for Reno, and he's playing here at Fresno State. And so I want to kind of stay and be there for his game, and then maybe the day after hit the road.
Amazing. I'm
And
so
I'm pretty
excited for this for you.
My landlord will be okay with it because he wants me to be here as long as he's not in escrow.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
Because then I pay the mortgage.
All right. Thanks everybody for sharing amazing wins. I love, well, look at all the smiles that were happening as a result of all of this. So that's a great way to start the day. Okay, I'm going to shift over to market update. Just showing you that we had a little bit of a dip down, and obviously that I would say that that's probably related to the holiday, right? Like people don't necessarily want to do it until after the holidays. So we had just a little bit of drop. And I just want to remind anybody who was not here last week, I took the sheets out, but if you are looking for an explanation about what kind of market this looks like, take a screenshot from Paragon, exactly like I have here, load it into ChatGPT and ask it to give you the information that's happening inside the market. It was so wonderful last week. It did a really great job. It took 2 seconds to get. It gave you talking points for you to be able to talk to sellers, talk to buyers. Really, really easy to do. So I encourage you, if you're not using ChatGPT in that way, or who called it that? Debbie, when we were at Dallas, they called it Chatty G, and I was like, I'm calling it Chatty G from now on.
The girls
Yeah, the girls with grit, Chatty G. You guys will laugh, but mine had named herself Alira, but I was watching a preview the other day for Iron Man, and he called his little, computer. It was Jarvis initially, then he called it Friday, and I was like, oh, it's my girl Friday. I need to call it my girl Friday. I like that a lot more. So make sure that you're using stuff like that, guys. If you feel like, hey, I don't know what I want to say, pull up specific to Fremont or specific to Santa Clara only, or whatever that is. Feed it in and say, give me some talking points based on what you're seeing that's happening inside the marketplace. And this was 7 days. I always pull these by 7 days, but you guys could easily pull 30 days and give them a very clear picture of what the last month has looked like. And I encourage you to be specific for the community or the town. These are entire counties, and I am pulling single family. So you're going to want to be specific so that you're speaking to that particular area. I was talking to Ralph Furtado on a coaching call last week, and he's been working his farm really, really heavily, right? And he was like, I just don't know what else to put on these flyers. And it was sort of like just solds. And oh, Casey, you're never going to believe it, but Michelle Taylor's calling me. Sorry, I'm about to fall out of my chair. But he was giving like just listed, just sold, which is valuable when you're working a farm. However, I was like, they're going to want to know what's the average days on market, not just like what just sold. They're going to want some more specific information. And he was pulling up a whole entire area. And I said, look, they only care about their neighborhood. At the end of the day, that's it. Like, be very specific to the neighborhood when you're giving that information, because otherwise it's really not useful for them. And you have to be careful because sometimes people are doing areas and you don't realize that it's a completely different neighborhood on the other side of the freeway or whatever that is, right? So I said, look, here, we did it together online. We pulled up Paragon, we looked at it, and then I gave him the information, and then we just immediately loaded it into ChatGPT. And I was like, look, you have like the next 2 to 3 flyers for when you're walking through based on what's on here. So make sure that you're utilizing that information. Anything else before I move on?
I would just, I'm not adding anything to it, but like, I found that there's a couple people in the farm, and he probably has those too that like talk to him often. So perhaps asking them what would be of value to them. And I've got that, like, knowing that somebody is like specifically interested in my house and or the value of like mine now versus then has been something that's come up a couple times. So like, everybody thinks that their thing is the most special. So if he can somehow make that, I know that's kind of specific. You can't go house by house, but yeah, that's like there. I mean, and there are realtors who just send out like, I have a buyer for your house, that sort of thing. But if there's any way for him to make it more specific to where he is, might be
Love that. Thank you.
useful.
He's gotten a lot of business from door knocking and keeping that same farm going. He's just what we
Yeah.
realized is if you guys are doing any kind of a farm, he's doing a great job at the door knocking, but he's not layering at all. So there's no mailing, there's nothing else going. He's not calling, he's not doing anything else. And I was like, look, because he was like, oh, do I make a bigger farm? And I'm like, and he's like, I feel like my knees are gonna give out. And I was like, let's save your knees. Like he's
Yeah.
already got several thousand in it. I'm like, you just need to layer. Like keep what you have.
Yeah.
They already have a great experience of you, right? Like let's master that before we, either that or get a segue, one of the two. And it's like
Yeah, that's what I want to. I have a couple meetings set up with title because I want to get them to like be specific to the people that I hit. Because I'm getting to the point where everybody's accepted that, look, this dude's just going to be walking around giving stuff out. He's out here. And so now no one's really upset when I walk up on them and they're reading a book and they're like, oh, you, okay. And then, it's like I've passed that barrier. So now the layering needs to begin.
Well, don't be surprised if he reaches out to you because I told him you were doing a good job with pop buys and he hasn't tried that yet either. So I was like, hey, you should talk to Anthony. He does pop buys.
I just did notepads and pens, and I got a new person just sent me a message thanking me for like continuously doing it. So it's definitely like warming up. And Dad always said it was like 2 years before I expect anything. I'm hoping it will be sooner than that, but haven't even got close to that timeline yet.
I'm sorry,
Lena,
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm driving, so I just can't put this in the chat box. But I took the results from just a CMA I did on a person's house. I just dropped it in the front. I just took the results from what it gives me, like all the pendings, the actives, and the solds within the last 60 days. And I just took a screenshot of that and I put it into the ChatGPT, and it said, it wrote out an email. It did a post for Instagram. It did a post for Facebook. And it asked, like, do you want it specifically, send it to this person? Would you like to go ahead and put it out for a broader community for a Facebook post? Would you like to add a photo behind it? We can drop in some photos here of this community and then put this out there for an Instagram post. So it will do a lot of things. I was like pretty impressed. I was like, wow, already then. So, and that was just with, I'm putting together the CMA for up in San Mateo, and it just really talked a lot about their little neighborhood. And I only did a half a mile from their house. Like that's all I did. And that's all the information I got. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Who here is using ChatGPT a lot right now? I mean, I know that, a couple of us. I know Debbie is because we talk about it all the time. Ela, are you not using it currently? Hang on, let's get you off mute 1 second.
I am, but I'm still not fully utilizing it. I think it has a lot more potential than I'm doing justice to.
If you ever want to, go ahead, Tracy, go ahead.
Well, and I've put together these 10 masterminds to do one a month. And I just put in there, what are the top 10 questions on every realtor's, their top 10 concerns throughout this next year. And I got 10 topics, and then it just drills it down. It'll put together all your slides, everything. It does everything. And then you can go in and make it into, you can layer it up and ask it to go even deeper, and you can bring in your own information as well. But it does all of that together. So I have my first 3 months already put together. So
I have 52 weeks of topics for a YouTube channel. And it created it all for me, exactly what Tracy did, like based on what's the most needed right now. And it will even, guys, it'll even now, because it links to Canva, give you your thumbnails. It'll create your thumbnails for you. And it was very interesting. I was reading up something on this, and it said hashtags are out, SEO and keywords are in. So people aren't using hashtags as much anymore. It's mostly the keywords that you're using and whatever it is that you're saying and whatever it is that you're posting internally. It's interesting to see how much the algorithms change. So that's something to keep up with if you're not. like if anybody ever needs help with that, Debbie and I like live, eat, and breathe chatty G all the time. We're using it in so many ways. I use it to meal plan. I use it to like create consistency in my life. It actually gives me my grocery list at the HEB that I shop at. So there's a lot of ways to create efficiencies. I'm always happy to help.
I would, if any of you are luxury agents too, they just had a 3-hour AI summit last week. And they were also offering a bit off to be a luxury agent. It's like $2,500, well worth it and we all meet the criteria here. So if you're selling a property, it's 2 or 3 a year, you're meeting the criteria. And I would say get in there, because the people that were on there, the other thing they're saying is stop typing into Chat GPT, start talking to it so that it responds to how your vernacular is when you're talking instead of typing, because they're two different things that you do. And one of the things they were saying is some of the SEO is being lightened by all the different places of where you can put a blog and what you can do. And ChatGPT is running all of that in the background for you. It was amazing.
That is awesome. Hang on 1 second, guys. I just got a new order number for these flowers, Casey, so I'm sending it to myself.
I've been talking into mine, like more of the audio, not the audio talking into it, but talk text into it, so that it's at least typing in how I actually talk. Because I do believe in that, Tracy, that when you type something, you might type it a little bit differently than the way you would speak it. So I've been talk texting into mine, plus it's easier because my fingernails, so it's easier for me to talk text it in. And I've been getting much more depth in what I'm inputting and what I'm getting back, because it's only as good as the information as you put into it to request. And then I quit telling it what to do so much and asking, what is the best way to achieve this goal? And then explain what the goal is, and then it'll tell you the best way to go about it based on whatever's going on right now in that field, subject matter, or whatever. So I quit telling it what to do and started asking the best way to do this.
I love that. I started brain dumping, and I forget who it was who first, maybe it was Leo Robles, or no, it was Leo Pareja who said that he talks into it. So I was doing the voice texting at first too. Now I actually do the full talking and it talks back to me. You know, you can choose your voice too that you want to hear whenever it comes back. But I was talking to Peter yesterday about it because he uses it a lot as well. And he said, can you imagine back when we both used to commute? I used to drive an hour and a half one way and an hour and a half back. And he was like, if you used that time to brain dump and voice text everything that you're thinking and at the end of it, you're just like, hey, compile this into one specific, one detailed thing about next steps. And I told Casey, like, we have this new system that we're using, and I use my Plod. For those of you that know that I have that Plod AI, it records voice calls and everything. I used it the other day for this 1-hour webinar that we both feel is way too long. It's way too much. It's just too much. And so I ran it the other day while the video was going, and it transcribed the entire thing for me. And then I threw it into ChatGPT and said, hey, I only want the key points. I want what an agent would want to know from this webinar. What are the actionable items that they're going to get from it? Take this 60 minutes of blah, 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 and make it into like one pager. And it was incredible what it did, right? So if you're not using it, like if you guys are thinking, processing, you're going for a walk, you're exercising, whatever it is, turn it on, and all of those things that are constantly going on in your head, just speak into it. And one, it's getting to know you better. Two, it will give you actionable items based on the brain dump that you had. And three, now with deep research mode, it can go in and do deep research on all that stuff and tell you this is what you need to look into, or this is what you need to do. So guys, there's a lot of conversation about whether or not this is going to replace us. It's not. It's just going to make us better and faster at what it is that we're doing. And that's the beauty behind it, is like, think about, I mean, my car now has Grok in it. And I used to have to stop and like make myself a note about what I wanted to do later or whatever it was. And now I just click this little button and I'm like, hey, Grok, blah, 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 right? While I'm driving, or to look it up for me. And then it keeps that information for me, and now will transfer into all the other stuff I'm doing. So create efficiencies for yourself, right? It's like, that's the beauty of it in this very technological world, is to come up with things that are going to help you become better at whatever it is that you're doing, not to do away with us. But it is going to, people who aren't using it are going to be a little bit behind because it's taking them longer to do things, right? So think about it that way. Okay, I'm going to jump in. Now, remember, last week it was way too much information. So we decided to break this up week over week, and we'll do a couple of different slides each time. I'm going to recap, and I did send everybody the PDFs last week in case you wanted to create your own checklist. We did pre-launch, right, which was a lot, but everything that you would want to do to get ready. We did launch day, what that would look like, and then we did week 1. Okay, so those were the 3 slides that we made our way through. So today we're on to week 2. Let me make this better. I'm going to present full screen. I'm done with my chat. Casey, that's being reprocessed. And we'll have a $15 pass. They have, apparently their address is not Sherwood Forest. It's Northbridge based on their actual address. So good to know. I'll make the update on the back end of our thing. Okay, can everyone see this now? All good? I froze there for a second. Okay, good. Okay, week 2. Now, who here is doing paid Facebook and Instagram ads right now? Anyone for listings that you have? Debbie, sometimes I know that we've talked in the past that you've had some.
I did the booth. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Deb.
Oh, I was going to say, I do the property boost through KV Core or Bold Trail. But that was what I learned how to do from Krista when I joined her program 5 years ago, was how to do it myself and how to properly do all the back end stuff but I just do the property boost in Bold Trail.
It's very easy to use.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah, Anthony, how has that gone for you?
I got a couple people angry at me, but I don't know what. It was apparently an aggressive ad that was like coming into people's homes when they weren't expecting that.
Oh.
Some guy was like, "Stop!" And I was like, "How could it be bothering you? It's an ad."
That is interesting. Well, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
guys, there's always going to be people who don't understand how
Yeah,
technology or
I know.
anything works. So, for those of you, Joanna, Ela, that are on here that maybe haven't had as much experience in Bold Trail / KV Core, there is a super easy way to do this in Bold Trail. Whenever you have a listing that goes live, you can click on it, and maybe you know what, I'll put that on my list of things to teach. 1 second, Bold Trail ad. Super easy. They make it easy for you. You decide how much money you want to spend on that ad, right? But it's created inside the system for you so easily from any active listing that you have. You can actually use other people's listings too, just in case you didn't know, right? It doesn't have to be yours. So if you don't currently have a listing and you're looking to get some exposure out that way, you can pick any listing that we have. And I think it has to be EXP, right? Though, Debbie, it has to be an EXP listing, if I recall. Yeah.
The best way I think to do that is like if you're doing an open house, you have to, but there's a couple of things to consider. You have to do it at least 3 business days in advance of the date of the open house. Otherwise, it won't go through the day of the open house. You have to do it, you have to plan it a little bit.
So I don't want anyone to think that this is like a difficult thing to do. It's not, because of Bold Trail. Like, they make it super easy for you. And there's just some advantage to generating that. Secondly, if you're going to put this on your documentation at a listing appointment, then do it. Right? Then say that I do it. They're going to see that this is something else that you're doing. Even if you wanted to spend $25, if you got 4 really great leads out of that, it's still a win. Right? Yeah, I read your lips. It's still a win. And it's super easy to do. So I can certainly teach anyone who needs to know how to do that inside of Bold Trail. It's very, very easy. The next one, write a keyword rich post on your website. This is exactly what we just talked about. Use ChatGPT and say, I need a keyword rich. Here's all of the information about my listing. You know, take whatever that full write-up that you did for MLS and say, I want it to be keyword rich. I want to stress, guys, that we are happy to post this on the Council-Geha Google page because that generates interest as well. Okay, so that's pushing it out even further. And the advantage is, like, again, ask ChatGPT, what are the keywords that are going to be the most effective for me in writing up this information for the website? Okay, this is one of those things that I'm so grateful for this, because we wear so many hats as realtors. You have to be like a marketing expert. You have to like all of these different things that you have to do. You don't have to be that anymore. You can go into ChatGPT and you could say, hey, listen, I want you to act as though you are a marketing expert specifically for realtors. Write me a keyword rich post about this listing. Here's all the information. And I encourage you to also put in pictures. Like if you want it to actually look at it and say what would draw someone for this specific thing. I am so sorry. I'm seeing that there's stuff in chat. Let me just pop over here 1 second. Oh, I love it. Okay. So make sure that you're doing that. Again, this is the beauty of what we have available to us that we didn't used to have available to us. We used to have to just like create all of this stuff on our own and hope it hit. Let's see. Can we market off-market property? It says coming soon. I have one that's tenant occupied. I encourage you to use ZenList. We have access to that through EXP. It is a great way to market off-market listings. It's super easy to use as well. Super, super easy. So if you have not signed up for that, I will put that out in email whenever I send out these slides as well, the link to go to for ZenList. Let me see, training. I'm gonna do. Okay, so I will do that. It's great and it's super easy to use. Okay. Anyone here used Zip My Flyer? We used, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to think about it. Casey, do you remember the name of the flyer company that we used when we were doing all of Rick's business planning? I'll have to go back in my email. It was really cool, guys. So basically I could put whatever counties I wanted and it would pull all of the agents and we made a flyer and it sent it to everybody. And it was very inexpensive. I want to say it was $75 and that was quite literally every agent in all of the MLSs. I will find that flyer company, but if you want something like that, it's a very effective way to get the information out to all of the agents. I will remember the name momentarily or I will get it after this call. But I like that they had it on this list as well because it's another thing that you can put on your marketing plan to your sellers whenever you're going in and say, hey, not only do I post this on the MLS, I'm actually going to send a flyer of your house to every single agent in the entire MLS. Right? That's my commitment so that it's getting in front of everybody. And you can shrink it down. Like if you said, I only want it to be people who are in Santa Clara, right? You can choose just one county. It's going to pull it by what they have listed on their license, where they do business. So it's another way to do it. Okay, let me see. Call and text these agents with an unbranded tour link. That's going to be a little bit more in depth, right? Calling and texting that many agents. But there are ways to do it if anybody ever wants to do that. I would say what we talked about last week, where we said we were going to pull anybody who sold in that area. That's going to be a much more, I would say, effective list because there's a lot of agents that don't ever do anything. Like they're licensed and they never sell a darn thing. I would say pull that list of anybody who has either been the buyer agent or the listing agent, and then be very proactive about calling those folks. I think that's going to be a much better use of your time versus saying, I'm going to call everybody who's, licensed in Santa Clara. That's days and days of work. Okay. Determine your mailing list for the week 3 postcard mailing. Pick your neighbor. This was, again, we have access to RedX. If anyone needs help with that and you have a listing and you want to be very specific about door knocking and sending out mailings, I am happy to show you how to use RedX. We have access to it. We still have it at the coach's discount. It's a great program for getting phone numbers, for getting emails if they're out there, and getting addresses to be very specific. Now, I'm going to tell you something that I do, and I recommend if you're going to do any kind of regular mailing. Normally, when I'm coaching someone and they tell me that they want to mail a farm or they want to do it for just listeds or just solds, I tell them they can't start mailing anything until they've designed every week of the mailing. Like get in Canva or whatever it is that you're doing. There's a reason for that. You're going to get busy and you're going to skip a week. And when you skip a week, you just lost the consistency. Okay, so I say, great. Develop all of that ahead of time. Guys, if you are doing this for listings, you should already have those saved as templates so that all you're doing is dropping in pictures and dropping in the write-up, right? That's it. Use the same thing. You want that consistency anyway, because if you change your brand every single time that you're sending something, you've lost that particular activating system that people are like, oh, I just got something from Anthony last week. Right? You want that. But the reason that you do it in advance is because you will forget. I love you all, but you will forget or you will get busy. It's just what happens. So like when Ralph came to me initially, gosh, maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, and he was like, I want to start farming. What do I do? I was like, design everything before you knock the first door. Okay, because that way, every time you go, it's already planned. The same thing for mailers like postcards. have it set up, because remember, once you submit it to someone to do the mailing for you, like let's say it's Every Door Direct, they're not going to send it 10 minutes later. They're going to need time. They're going to upload it. They're going to send you a proof. Then they're going to make sure they've got the mailing list, and then it's going to take time. If you're already busy and running behind and you're like, oh crap, I didn't do that. Now you're looking at probably a 3-day turnaround for it actually getting out. And so you're already late, and then now you're later. So plan it all in advance, get it all ready. My biggest takeaway, and this was something that we did in New York, was our VA designed everything from the moment we signed the listing agreement. As soon as the pictures were coming in, it was already being dropped in, right? We had an entire Google folder that was like first week mailing, second week mailing, third week mailing. Here's the flyer, here's this, right? Create it on the front end, because I'm hoping that you get really busy with that listing and you're like, oh my God, I got so many things. I've got so many offers coming in. I can't get to it. Oh, here's a win. I'm already ready. Right? Everything's already there, so that when it comes time, even for these mailings, guys, you can plan those in EDDM in advance. Here's week 1. Here's the day I want it out. Here's week 2. Here's the day I want it out. Right? Be consistent and plan all these things. I know it's going to shock everybody, but we call this a system. Systems make Selena so happy. Like, they make me so happy. And you just put it on your checklist that you're getting all of this done by the time that something's gone live, and then it's just flowing. And the idea behind it is that you're going to get another one. And so if that system's already running, great, you're on to system for listing number 2. Okay, so think about it from that perspective. I don't have a lot of experience in Google Ads. Has anyone else here done them? Mark and I tried, and it was so cumbersome that we just gave up. Like, anyone else done it or tried it? No? Okay. So maybe everybody else has had the same experience. Like, I see people put it on here and I'm like, we hired VAs who told us they could do it and it wasn't getting done. I don't know. Like, until they make that a little bit easier, I'm just not sure how much time or energy I'm going to spend on it. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. But I'm going to tell you that if you're interested in it, I'm going to tell you exactly what I told my husband this weekend when he was talking to me about building a freaking website or something. That's what Fiverr is for. If you don't know how to do it, or it's not easy and it's going to take you more than 2 hours to figure it out and get it like completely up, get on Fiverr, Fiverr, post what you want. And there is someone out there that is their love language, is doing a Google ad. Okay. And like, you can pay them $10 or $15 and they will set the entire thing up for you. If it is not $300 of your time, don't do it if that's not your hourly rate. Get on Fiverr, tell them what you want, and chances are they can get it back to you in 15 to 20 minutes. Okay. Utilize those as much as you can. I was like giving him a hard time. I was like, seriously, you're going to build a website? Like, I'm certain there's someone out there that they could probably get that done for you in no time, right? Like, it's bad use of your time. So make sure that you're using things like that. Now, I happen to know a certain someone who's good at this part. Share fun behind the scenes footage on socials. Mr. Geha in the mirrors. Like, I saw your mirror video. Like, go to these listings, do something fun, or like Jessica Mraz had something the other day as well. And it was them like trying the number of takes it took them to get to the good shot, right? Don't discount doing something like that. It's fun. Okay, it's fun. Nobody's perfect. Well, most people aren't perfect on the first round of doing a reel or doing something like that. So make sure that you're taking some of that opportunity as well, and putting it out there, because this was something that we did learn. People don't want you to be transactional. They want to see that you're a person. They want to see that you have fun. They want to see that you're not just thinking about whose house am I selling today, right? Like, get yourself out there, do something exciting, do something fun, walk the neighborhood, whatever that is. Okay. So make sure that you're keeping track. And if you're using a photographer or a videographer, ask them to keep all that too and send it to you. Don't ask them, hey, I don't just want the finished product. I would love the uncut version. Like, Casey and I are working on this right now where we're creating this content vault, right? And a lot of times we only get the finished product. And I'm like, ooh, I really want like the other stuff too, so we can kind of take bits and pieces. And for anybody looking for something, Casey, we didn't talk about this earlier. It's not on the App Store, but I found this on some other agent posted about it. It's called Downie, Downie. So typically, if you are at an event or something and you are presenting, you don't necessarily get the raw footage. You're getting whatever they posted on YouTube at the end, which YouTube does not allow you to download, right? It is not, they don't let you do it. With Downy, it's not on the App Store. You have to go to that site and like look up that software. For $20 for a lifetime license, you can download anything off of Facebook and it will create the video for you so that you have the raw footage then at that point, which was pretty exciting because like Casey, you've got a ton of stuff from Brent Gove and I don't have the raw footage, right? It's just out there on his YouTube through his site. And I was like, ooh, with Downy, I can go in and pull it now, right? And we can do whatever we want to with it. So if you're looking for something similar, or you want to take bits of trainings and then create something where you're the overlap and like you're pointing behind it as somebody else is doing something, Downy is the name of the software. So something to keep in mind. Like I just save these things, they just stay in my head. But good for you to use. Okay, but then again, week 2, you're finishing your seller update email, results and feedback. What happened this week? How many showings did we have? What was the feedback on it? Like what just got listed in your neighborhood? I want you to think about what's important to go in those emails. Don't miss these either. If you make a commitment to a seller that you're going to talk to them every week, pick the day, be consistent with the day. Don't do it on a Tuesday one week and on a Friday the next. Pick a day, block your calendar, and it says seller updates, period. And that's when you do it. Because now they're in the habit and they realize that, this person acts like a professional. They've time blocked this every week. This is my time to expect a call from Anthony with my seller update, right? That's what they start to see. You're going to send them the email first, and I would call them to discuss it afterwards. Don't just send the email, right? Have a conversation, stay in conversation. Okay, any questions on week 2 before we move to the next one? No? All good? Okay. Week 3, you've completed the postcard mailing. Now you've posted the listing in the local realtor Facebook groups with permission to share. Some of those do require it. You have to ask in advance. I have joined a bunch of groups around my neighborhood now. And I'm like, this morning I got up and there was like multiple people posting their listings. And I was like, great job. And then the interesting thing was, this is something you should monitor. Someone posted, hey, I'm moving here from Oklahoma. I'm thinking about Bridgeland. Where should I go? 14 realtors responded, right? Like, but they did a great job. Don't just say, call me. They did a great job of, hey, here are the areas that we see that are best for younger kids. Here are the areas we see that if you have older kids, here's the average price point in both of those. They gave them information. They said, I'd love to talk to you more about your move. Okay, so it's another way of keeping up with that specific neighborhood, and make sure that you're not just saying, hey, I'm a licensed realtor, call me. That's not enough. Give them value in that. And then you can also show that your seller that you are in that Facebook group, right? Hey, I'm keeping track of people who are maybe posting in here that are moving from a different location, right? So it's another way to just showcase what you're doing. Evaluate your showing pace. This is where you're looking at it and saying, interesting, we had 13 showings and no offers. What does that mean? Or we had no showings, right? You're really looking at it. Go into showing time, go like the heart attack I had whenever I first started working with Rick and Casey, and everybody had to book a showing by calling their number. And they just kept a calendar. I was like, what is happening? What is happening? So if you're not using something like that, please use it, because then you can just pull it up and look at it. You're like, oh gosh, first week was a lot of showings, second week was none. What does that tell us? Anybody? First week we had a bunch of showings, second weeks we had none. What's that tell you?
The price.
The price. Yep. People saw it and they were like, second week. Now that means that the first week, all of those people were like, oh, this seems like an unusual, like some people are going to recognize it right off the bat. Oh, that's overpriced. I'm not even going to go look at it. Others are going to be like, I should go see. Maybe they're amenable to something, right? And they may have submitted an offer. Those other people, we don't know, right? Like they don't know, but that's going to tell you something. And you're going to have to say that in your seller feedback. Hey, you saw we got a lot of activity in that first week, and that was just because it was new and people were like, but Here's the thing. If they're looking at your house, they're also looking at the house down the street that is where we said we wanted to price it, but you didn't. And when they have the two to compare, they're going to head that direction. So make sure that you're looking at that regularly and seeing what the showing pace looks like. It's really, really important. Review the MLS listing. This is something not a lot of people do. How many people change the order of their pictures if they see it's not getting a lot of traction? Anthony?
I always just go in and change something because I feel like that's gotta keep it refreshed to some extent.
It does. So we had a very specific order that Mark liked the pictures in, very, very specific. But sometimes we would have, like, where it's kind of hard to choose. You're like, which one I like for the front photo? And you've got maybe 2 or 3 that are really good. Swap one out. See if it makes the difference. Sometimes it's all about perspective. So take that into consideration. It's going to shift things in the listing as a result of that, right? And it's going to show up as something changed. You've now given it some more exposure. One tiny little thing can create more exposure for that listing. Casey, you look like you were going to say something, were you? No, okay, sorry. I thought I saw your hand go up. So most people don't know to do that. That one little thing can make a big difference, and it changes where it sits in somebody's feed as a result of that because something changed, right? So make sure that you're reviewing it. Secondly, this was something that I love doing. If you get asked the same question over and over again with someone calling you about the listing, please put that in the listing. Go back and say, oh God, I got like 14 calls about, was this included, or, what does this have? Put it in there. Again, people are going to get a notification that something changed in the listing. So that's a win. 2, hopefully you stop getting more phone calls about that thing. Okay, so do it. Most people forget to do that. I'm like, just put it in there so nobody's asking you. But also recognize that it means that something's going to change in the listing and it's going to go back up in the feed. All we're looking at is more exposure, guys, more exposure, whatever creates that. Okay, audit your reverse prospecting list. This is that list of people, right, that we knew that agents were showing in that area before. They sold homes there before. They've got people that are in there. Call them. Hey, I just want to make sure, if you have a buyer, have you gone by to see my house? I'm going to do a broker open. I'd like to invite you. It's an excellent opportunity. I also want you to think about this as prospecting for agents to join you in your downline. Now you're in conversation, right? Casey said something really amazing a couple of weeks ago, that you have 4 pillars: buyers, sellers, investors, and agents. If you're not thinking about it from that perspective and getting into conversation with more and more agents and about possibly having the conversation with them about EXP down the road, you're selling yourself short. Okay, get into conversation with as many agents as possible. It's just another pillar. Think about it that way. Okay, themed open houses. This is so fun. Who here's done a themed open house? Like Halloween.
I've been to a few.
Yeah, how were they?
One was it was a luxury listing, so it was like a $2 million listing, which here in Fresno is like probably 5 million in the Bay Area. But they had a taco truck out front, and they had a margarita bar by the pool.
See, I would go to that open
house. I was like, I'm going, even though I don't have anybody for this house, I'm going. It was a broker open.
So I love it when people get really creative with this around a holiday or something like that. I had a coaching client in, oh my God, I'm trying to remember where he was, somewhere in the Midwest. And he had a house that had a lot of land, and they had been growing hay on it, right? And so they had just cut everything, and he was like, I want to do an open house. And they did hay rides. They actually had it where the people brought their kids. They advertised it that way. We're having this cool thing. They had pumpkins out. They had all kinds of neat stuff. And they had a massive amount of people come through that open house. Now, remember, some people are just going to come because they're looky-loos. But if they see the house and they're like, this house was really cool, they're going to tell their friends and family, hey, I went to this open house just for fun because they were doing this thing. However, I thought you should know, you mentioned maybe wanting to move into the neighborhood. I saw this, it had this. I know you said you wanted a big front porch. It has a big front porch. Right now you're creating an experience that they're going to pass on to other people. So consider doing that. I really love the broker open option was holding a continuing ed class. Like if you could get someone to hold a continuing education class at a broker open, imagine how many more people would go. You're like, hey, come for an hour. You're going to get a credit, 2 credits. whatever that looks like. I thought that was pretty neat. Live social media walkthrough. So this is you going, posting live while you're walking the house. It's just more exposure, and your sellers are going to see that you're posting it on your Facebook or your Instagram. Okay. All they're showing them is what you're doing to get their house sold. That's amazing. It's going to take you what, 20 minutes to walk through the house and do something like that. We talked about this a little bit. If you have any challenging spaces, virtually renovate. Okay. Sometimes people just don't have inspiration. I'm loving this whole ability to do this stuff in Canva now. So if you've got your Canva Pro account already set up with EXP, utilize it. I have yet to try the Nano Banana. Has anybody used that yet? Came out in it last week. It's a Google thing. Apparently it's incredible, Nano Banana, and it's supposed to be really great for image generating. So put in the picture of the blank room, or even put in the picture of the actual room in case they have it in case they have it done a certain way that doesn't make any sense actually for the room, which we all know happens. You have the ability to go in there and virtually stage it now. It's a lot less expensive now. It used to be Box Brownie. We would pay for that, and now you can do it for free. Reach out to any new reverse prospecting results and complete your seller update email. I know, once again, this was a lot. Bless you, Debbie. Has anybody taken the slides I gave them last week and started creating an actual checklist for your listings moving forward? That's a no. Sad face, Selena. Sad face. Girls with Grit do this, and they list like a freaking lot of houses, guys. I encourage you to take this. Throw the slides I sent you into Chatty G, and it will make the list for you. How about that? Look how much time I just saved you. Okay. Did anybody learn anything new this week? Anything that they're not doing that they want to implement? Oh, hang on. I lost you all. 1 second. Too many screens open. No one got anything new? Okay. I'm going to give you one last thing. If you're not using Bold Trail to also post open houses, you should do that. It should pull anybody in your entire Bold Trail that's ever looked for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Fremont and send them the open house flyer. It takes about 2 minutes to do. That's it. Like, it's super easy. Lastly, if you haven't taken the training on Bold Trail and or KV Core, please do that. The first two, the agent success one, and then the next one is like how to actually utilize the leads and the call list and everything that comes up in there. Guys, invest in your actual abilities to like utilize the software that you're given access to. This was another thing I heard last week, and I'm trying to implement it now. Personal curriculum. Every month you should be coming up with what your personal curriculum is for the month. For September, like, what do I want to learn more about? It doesn't have to just be work related, although that's very important for all of us to continue to grow. For those of you that have invested in your PSI basic, you're already halfway there. But like, it can be other things as well. Like, hey, I want to learn more about when Rome was started. I want to take 5 modules on French, like whatever that is. There's really just this whole idea behind how we continue to keep our brains into that momentum of learning and creating, and it makes us better at everything that we do. So personal curriculum, for those of you that haven't taken the Bold Trail training, go take the Bold Trail training. Yes, Casey, I'll see you. I'm going to jump off in just a minute as well. I will send these slides out. I'm also going to send out the Zenlist link. And as soon as in just a moment, look up the flyer, name of that company, I will send that to you guys as well. I hope that somebody got something out of this. I feel like I'm just talking to talk sometimes.
Sorry, I had to hop on a call with the clients, but I'm back.
Okay.
And I love the personal curriculum idea. This is,
I know,
it
isn't it
gives
crazy?
structure to my, I wish I could do that, or my bucket list or dream list. It actually gives a structure. So I like that. Thanks.
Ooh, I love that idea. I mean, I read constantly, and it's almost always workbooks, but I was like, what are other things? Like, I took 9 years of French, and I'm like, oh, I would really like to get back in that. And back when COVID happened, I bought, they were selling lifetime subscriptions to Rosetta Stone. So I bought the student version for Nico, and I bought the, you know, the adult version for myself. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back in there and like really refresh, right? Oh, Joanna, we could practice French. I love it. We, she says we. We. Well, I went into Nico's French teacher the other day because he's taking French this year, and Nico was like, I'm expecting fluency from you, mother. And I was like, hi, it's only been 30 years since I was in school, but he's been taking Chinese for years and he loves it, but they don't offer it here. So he's using the Rosetta Stone to keep his Chinese going, right? And now he's learning French. And so my husband knew Russian and German. Maddie took Spanish. Christian took Spanish. Michael took Farsi. And then I've taken French, and Nico took Chinese. So we're very blended in our language. So if that's something that interests you guys, go see if Rosetta Stone has the lifetime membership, right? And learn a language, you know, do a couple of sessions every single month, and like that way you can put on your vision board where you want to go. And you're like, hey, by the time I get there, I'm going to be fluent. Yes, Duolingo is good too,
Yeah.
Joanna. Very good.
I
Okay, I
learned
hope you
Spanish
guys
on that. Yeah.
did you on Duolingo?
Yeah, and German. I mean, I used to learn German because I was working in a German company and whatever. And yeah, now it's Spanish. So right now I can butcher many languages.
Well, I encourage you to think about it. Like, set yourself a personal curriculum list for every
Yeah.
month. And is it, what kind of trainings am I going to take? You know, am I going to practice a language? Do I want to learn more about Rome? Like, whatever that is, it's kind of fun because, like, we get into this habit of only doing the work stuff, right? And sometimes it's nice to, like, Nico and I are gonna, I know this is silly, but we're gonna do paint by number, like the oil paint by number. Because again, it's no screen, and it's like sitting down and being calm and patient to do it.
It's very
So
relaxing.
we got these beautiful ones that were like showing like the side of the Greek islands or something like that. And it was like, hey, this will be kind of neat for us to sit down and do together. And it's not a screen, right? So give yourself the break from the screen too. So I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for today. We will continue our training next week. All right. Bye, guys. Debbie.
Your Vanna White.
I know. My Vanna White. What's my Vanna White? Next week. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.